What's up, Wealthleets? It's Josh, and I recently started a dividend investing portfolio with $1,000 in M1 Finance, and I'm going to be going over exactly why I chose M1 Finance and what you should know before opening an account with them. Whether you're thinking about investing with M1 Finance or you already have an account with M1 Finance, I'm going to be going over the pros and cons of their platform, why I chose them over other platforms such as Robinhood and Webull, and how you can customize and build your own portfolio in their platform. And if you would like to get $30 when you sign up with M1 Finance, just for depositing $100 with them, you can use the link that I have down in the description. Seriously, it's 30% return on your investment just from opening an account with $100 with them. You're not going to get that anywhere else. So before you even start investing with stocks, sign up with M1 Finance with that link down below. Now it has come to my attention that many viewers come and go, leaving the like button unsmashed for the YouTube algorithm and leaving the YouTube gods disappointed. But no more. It's time to take a stand. It's time to punch that like button straight in the face. And if you do so, I'm going to show you a picture of my dog right here thanking you. And with that, let's hop right into the pros and cons of M1 Finance. So starting off with the pros, one of the main benefits of M1 Finance is the fact that you get to use their platform completely for free. You get to buy stocks for free and they manage your assets for free. So basically, when you set up an account with them, you can automate your investing for free, buy stocks for free. It's really a free platform. Now they do have a paid service, M1 Plus, which is $125 per year, but that comes with added benefits such as a checking account and you can borrow at a low rate, and I'll get into that later on, but just know that a lot of the benefits that come with M1 Finance are free. Now, another cool benefit to M1 Finance is the ability that they let you buy fractional shares. Now, a lot of platforms are moving towards this, but I really like the M1 Finance that you can buy these fractional shares. So for example, if you watched my last video, I invested in 5 different stocks and I invested $200 into each of them. And what I will say is one of the stocks, I think it was Microsoft, actually cost more than $200. So I actually got a fraction of that stock because I invested $200 into it. I think I got around 3/4 of a stock of Microsoft for that $200 that I invested. This means that you don't have to spend a ton of money if you want to invest in a stock that's, worth a lot. So for example, like Google stock or, Apple stock or even Tesla stock, you can buy a fraction of those shares, be invested in the company and not have to spend, all of the money to buy a whole share. Now, one feature that I absolutely love with M1 Finance, and a lot of people either love it or don't really like it, are the pies. Now, not that kind of pie, but what M1 Finance allows you to do is to customize your own pies, which is basically the breakdown of your portfolio. And within each of these pies, you can have stocks or ETFs or whatever you want in there. Anything really except for mutual funds, and these are going to be the slices of the pie. Now, the really cool thing is that M1 Finance actually offers over 80 expert pies. So if you don't want to customize your own pie, you can go in and choose from a bunch of these expert pies, anywhere from general investing, income, pies, even hedge fund pies that, are based off of some hedge funds. There's really a bunch of well-rounded expert pies in there for you to choose from if you want to just pick one of those and get started today. Now for the do-it-yourselfers, this is perfect because you can actually go in, customize your own pies, build them out however you want, up to 100 stocks in each pie, and just, do whatever you want with them in terms of building them out, seeing how they work. And the cool thing is you can actually see how they historically performed before you even put money into them, which I think is really cool. So yeah, this is really great for do-it-yourselfers to build out a pie and visually see how that pie is going to work. So these pies actually make automating your investing really easy. If you want to automate your investing and you turn that feature on in your M1 Finance account, you can actually have however much you are depositing in there will be automatically invested into each of these pies, depending on the weight that you set. So for example, if you have a pie in your portfolio and you have, let's say, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Apple. You have 5 slices in there, 5 stocks, and you have them all set to 20% so that the entire pie is 100%. When you say, for example, invest $1,000 into that portfolio, it's going to buy about $200 of each of the stocks. So that way, 20% of 1,000 is $200. That way, the whole $1,000 gets automatically invested into that pie and distributed accordingly. I also like how easy the pies make organizing your portfolio. So for example, I actually organize my portfolio right now for this YouTube dividend investing, series. I'm going to be investing them based on, the different stocks that I'm purchasing per month, the best stocks for May, the best stocks for June, monthly stocks, REITs, but whatever you want to organize them by, you can have fun with it. You can, develop all these different pies. I actually have some pies built out by sector if you want to do that. So utilities, energy, tech, you can build it out by sector and have all those specific types of stocks in each of those pies. If you want to do that, I think these pies actually make it really easy to organize and see your portfolio, however you want to see it. So that's, something to consider as well. Another benefit to M1 Finance is going to be their stock screener. Now, this is something that I actually really, really like. It's super intuitive to use and it gives you a ton of information and allows you to do really, really good research and add to your watch list of stocks. With this stock screener, you can easily see market cap, dividend yield, price history over the last 1, 2, or 5 years, and see the price to earnings ratio, which is important when deciding what stock to pick as well. You can click on a stock and get a lot of information about that stock, about the company, recent news articles. You can even see the dividend yield. And what I like to do when I'm doing my research is actually put in a minimum dividend yield. So say like 3, 4, 5%, see all of the filtered out results of all the companies that match that criteria. And that's where I start my research. Then I'll dig into more on those companies, see which ones are good value. That's how I really do my research. And I think this is a great screener when it comes to doing stock research. Now, M1 Finance also allows you to borrow up to 35% of your portfolio's value when you have at least $5,000 invested with them at a 3.5% rate. Now, this is really good if you want to buy like a car or, you want to put a down payment on a house, or maybe you have like some emergency come up and you don't want to have to sell your stocks, but you can borrow that cash at a pretty reasonable rate. I would say even lower than most, other loan companies, and not have to sell any stocks, have any taxable events, and really hold on to your stock portfolio while being able to navigate those different life events. As I mentioned, M1 Finance has a paid version, so they have M1 Plus. It's $125 a year, and this actually brings the rate for that borrowing down to 2%, which is extremely low, lower than most, financing on cars, a lot of different personal finance loans that you might have to take out, anything. This is a lot cheaper than a lot of those, so that's a good rate to consider. And it actually pays you 1% interest rate on any money that you have in your checking account. Oh, and it does offer a checking account. So technically, if you had $12,500 put in that checking account, this pretty much pays for that, and you get all those other features that are associated with that. So as for a few of the downsides that come with the platform, the number one con that I saw while doing research and that I've seen while opening my account is that you only get access to buying stocks one time per day. Now, this is going to be at 9:30 in the morning when the market opens. It's called their trade window, and it's really the only time per day that you can invest with, M1 Finance. So what this means is if you put a buy order in after this, it's going to have to wait until the next day when that 9:30 trade window opens up. Now, as I mentioned, the M1 Plus that you can pay for, that gives you access to an additional trade window. So you can have 2 trade windows per day, and that second trade window is actually going to be at 3:30 in the afternoon. And that makes it so that way if you put in a buy order, before that window, you're going to be able to, have that trade executed and not have to wait until the next day. I don't really see this as a problem. As you can see, a lot of their investors are going with that automated investing route. So this really doesn't affect them. If you want to day trade, that's kind of why this is set up in the first place, is to prevent day trading. So this really isn't the platform if you want to buy and sell stocks in the same day. And as I mentioned, the reason why M1 Finance does this is to ensure investors do not inadvertently run afoul of FINRA's pattern day trading rules. This is clearly stated on their website. Now, another downside of M1 Finance is their lack of help when it comes to setting goals or, retirement planning. As I mentioned, it's pretty much completely do it yourself. You set up the account, you start your automated investing if you want to do that, or you can deposit the money and do it all yourself. But it's really not meant for, setting goals, combining all of your different financial assets into one place. It's not really for that. It's for the investor who wants an automated way of investing and picking their own stocks, or setting up their pies. So keep that in mind. So now on to why I chose M1 Finance over investing apps such as Webull or Robinhood, which also offer that free trading. These are apps that you definitely hear thrown around here on YouTube if you watch finance videos. They're also apps that are very, very relevant in the finance community. So I'll go through a few of the criteria. The criteria I set for myself when deciding which platform to use: I wanted something that had free trades and no account management fees. M1 Finance meets that. I wanted something that was easy to set up and manage, for the next 2 years, 3 years that I have this account and I'm going to be growing it. I wanted something that was easy to manage. I also wanted a platform that was very intuitive to use, and it wasn't too complicated, and it had a lot of good features built in that would help assist me with building this dividend investing portfolio. Now, I will say I already had a Robinhood account that I was using last year in 2020 to trade stock options, buy and sell calls, buy and sell puts. And if you guys want to see a video on that, actually my strategy that I was using on that, to where I actually had a significant profit, I will come out with a video on that if you guys want to see that. Just let me know down in the comments down below if that is a video that you guys would be interested in viewing. But I was using Robinhood for that. But I ruled Robinhood out for this dividend investing portfolio, specifically because this is a portfolio that I plan on growing for several years and holding on to long term to have that passive income for many years to come. And just from seeing what happened over this past year, just in 2021 alone, what's going on with Robinhood, I wanted a platform that was consistent and reliable, wouldn't crash on me if I wanted to buy and sell stocks. And Robinhood just hasn't been the most reliable system, the most consistent platform. So with Robinhood, crossed off the list, did not meet the criteria. The next one was to consider Webull, and this one really just came down to their platform interface. It really wasn't that intuitive to use, at least to me. Other people might have a different experience, but I know that other, YouTubers such as Andre Jick had an issue with their platform in terms of the intuitiveness and just the user design. That's something that they can work on in the future, but just for this, I wanted something that was very intuitive, that I could manage my portfolio and grow it in an easy, consistent way. And Webull just did not seem to have that kind of, reputation and platform. The more I dug into M1 Finance, watched some YouTube videos, I'm sure you can probably find a bunch of YouTube videos on YouTube regarding M1 Finance, just like this one. That's what I did, and I actually really, really liked their system that they have set up. It was really intuitive. I ended up setting up an account for free before depositing any money with it, and kind of navigating and seeing, building out my own pies, doing some research, playing with their stock screeners. And I really, really just liked the feel that M1 Finance has, and that's why I ended up going with M1 Finance in the long run. Now, with all that being said, I'm actually going to take you behind the scenes at M1 Finance, show you my account. I'm going to go over, building out a pie, adding it to a portfolio, doing some research with a stock, all the different things that you should know, the basic foundations that you should know when using M1 Finance, I'm going to do right now. So here we are in my portfolio. As you can see, it's pretty user-friendly. It's an intuitive design. $2,000 in there right now. I just started the account at the end of April. It's the beginning of May. My goal is to hit $100,000 in the next few years of my own money in there, and to be generating over $500 in dividend income per month. That way we'll start to see that compounded growth and really start to see this portfolio take off. But until then, here we are. Now I'm going to take you through a few of the basic things that you need to know when it comes to M1 Finance. I'll do a future video going really in depth on behind the scenes here. But for now, let's just go into, the portfolio here. As you can see, it's pretty intuitive. I have two pies, and when you look at it from a portfolio view, each pie is a slice. So I have two slices inside of my portfolio. So as you can see, these are the pies. This is going to be the initial dividend pie that I invested in. It's got 5 stocks in it. I invested $200 into each of them. So that's where that fractional shares came into place. But as you can see here, they're really performing pretty well. Microsoft's down, but over the long term, it'll perform better. But you can see in here the slices, and what you'll see here is the actual and target percentages. So I just set them all to 20%. I'm really not going to be doing automated investing here. I'm going to be purchasing each of these stocks pretty much equally with $200 each whenever I invest into a new stock or want to add more money to the stock and purchase more. I'm just going to go in and do it manually. That's just my own way of doing it. But as you can see here, over time, since I just opened this account, it's up. But this is going to start to show you exactly the dividends earned once I start to earn them. And here's that auto invest feature up here. So now I'm going to take you into the research tab up here. And this is really where the stock screener is. And I really love this. If I want to make my own pie, I'm going to take you to that. Here, I'll show you how to do this right now. Create new pie. And let's just add Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Facebook just for good measure. Add them all to this pie. It's really, really easy to do. And as you can see, and this is really cool, as I mentioned earlier, you can actually see the performance of this pie over the past 5 years. How if you put money into it 5 years ago with $100, here's what you would be at. You'd be up 382% with just this pie alone. So I really, really like how this back tests your pies in terms of historical performance. But let's just go in here. And if you wanted to add this directly to the portfolio, so it'll add it to the portfolio in addition to those other two that I showed you, we could do that with this. But as you can see here, I have 5 holdings in this pie. Their dividend yield is actually 0.3%, which is relatively low because these are tech stocks. They don't really have very high dividends. But let's just show you, how we can go in and edit this. So as I said, each pie has to have a 100%, makeup. So let's just say I wanted 75% of this to be in Google. Now that's going to be, shown here. But what we're going to do is, as you can see, 155 out of 100, that's kind of red because you cannot have that. So we're going to bring this down to 10. We're going to bring this to 5. We're going to bring this to 5. Bring this to... So now we're at 100%, right? Now we can save this. Not without... Subscribe for more. Now we can save it and add it to the portfolio. I'm not going to save this because I don't want it, but as you can see, you can build out a ton of different pies. I've built out a bunch based on different sectors. I've built out one on the golden butterfly. If you don't know what that is, I'll be coming out with a video on that. It's actually a really cool way of investing to pretty much minimize the risk and get all of that growth. But I'll come out on a video on that in the future. But yeah, as you can see, it's really, really easy to see as we go through expert pies, general investing, plan for retirement, responsible investing. There's a bunch of different expert pies here that you can choose from. I have a stock watch list that I've been building out with dividend stocks here that I'll be adding to portfolios in the future. If you missed the first video in this series, I'm doing an entire dividend investing series. You can go check that out. It goes over my strategy and my plan for building this portfolio. And you can check that out up here. If you want to check out the playlist that I'm going to be building out for dividend investing right down here. If you want to subscribe to the channel to follow along and never miss an episode, click the button right here, right in the middle. You'll see it right there, subscribe. And just, everybody continue to build your financial fitness. And until next time, thank you so much. Take care.